Hello and welcome back for Module 4, Lesson 4, the backup plan. So in the last lesson, I talked about making the transition out of your day job and into your freelance business. And I mentioned in there that it's a good idea to have a backup plan. So in this lesson, I wanted to give you a bit more detail about what a backup plan will look like and why you want to have one. So what are we going to cover? We're going to cover what a backup plan is. We're going to cover why you want to have a backup plan, and we're going to talk about some backup plan ideas. So for those of you who are like me and a little bit conservative about taking the leap into this kind of thing, then you would like to have a backup plan in place, and it's going to make you feel really a lot safer moving into your freelance business. So what is a backup plan? A backup plan is your fallback position if your freelance business plans don't go quite as planned. And I've put down there that you can have more than one backup plan. So, you might have a few different options, and we will talk a bit about that as we move on through this lesson. So, why do you want to have a backup plan? Well, I think it's a good idea because even the best laid plans can go to custard. And it's quite popular, like I mentioned in the last lesson, for people to say you should go all in and really commit to your business. And sometimes it might seem like having a backup plan makes it seem like you're not confident in your own ability to be successful. But I don't see it that way. I think it's a way to give yourself some more confidence to go ahead with your business without the fear of what will happen if things don't work out quite as you'd hope for or don't work out as fast as you would like. So I don't think it's a cop-out. I don't think, it's a negative thing at all. I think it's a positive thing. I think it's being realistic. You can be happy, you can be confident that your business is going to do well without being reckless about what the future might hold. So doing this is going to help you to manage your stress levels a lot, I think, and it'll give you the best start in your business because you won't be feeling as stressed about the situation, particularly if you do decide that the only way to go forward is to leave your day job and start a business like I did. And it's going to keep you safe. So having a backup plan about what you're going to do if it doesn't go to plan, it means that it gives you an extra layer of safety in starting your business. So I also think it's really good to be clear now, because sometimes when you get in that situation where things aren't going to plan, it can be a bit harder to think. It can be a bit harder to plan. So if you have something in place earlier on, it's going to make it a lot easier for you to protect your position if things don't go quite to plan and you need to make some changes later on down the track. So a few backup plan ideas. So one that you might not like, but which is always or often an option anyway, is to go back to your old day job. So I've mentioned in one of the other lessons that when I left my day job, my boss had said to me, look, if you are wanting to come back, then just get in touch and we'll see what we can do. So that's often the case. If you've had a good relationship with your employer, even though you're wanting to leave, often for family reasons or just lifestyle reasons, you might have a really good relationship with your employer. So going back to your old job might be an option. And in fact, you could potentially even have that conversation with your workplace and say, look, if this doesn't go to plan, would it be an option for me to apply to get my old job back or to get another position here? And then that's going to give you even a further layer of security as well. Another option is for you to pick up some part-time work. So, you might find, well, your business hasn't taken off quite like you'd hoped, particularly if you've decided to leave and go full-time in your business. There's the option of then actually just getting a part-time job that you can do a couple of days a week to bring some money in and take the pressure off that way. So if you have that in your mind that, if this happens, I can get a part-time job, either maybe something at your old work or another job, or even just something completely different, like working in a cafe or something like that, that's going to give you some income to take the pressure off, whatever it is that will work for you. So that's another option for a backup plan. And then I sort of touched upon this in the last lesson as well, is to figure out whether there's a way you can reduce your expenses. So If you can reduce your household expenses, that can buy you a bit more time, particularly if you've got some money saved up. So, maybe while you're growing your business, you might cut back on some subscriptions for things like Netflix, or, go out for dinner less often, or, just shop around for groceries, that kind of thing, just to try and bring your expenses down, so that gives you a little bit more time, particularly if you've managed to save some money up, so that money lasts a little bit longer for you. And I've also put on there, what's the worst thing that could happen if my business plans don't work out? And sometimes it can feel like the worst thing, having to then go back and ask your boss or your old boss for your job back, but it isn't really the worst thing. There's a lot of worse things that could happen. So usually, even though, it can be disappointing for your business to not work out quite as you planned, having something in place that enables you to protect yourself is not the worst case scenario. And even going back and begging for your job back isn't the worst case scenario. I'm sure you can think of worse things than that. So think about what the worst case scenario is. And usually the worst case scenario really isn't all that bad. It's probably doing something else in the interim to get some money coming in, so that, you take the pressure off financially. And then, really the worst thing that can happen, if it doesn't work out at all, is, I guess, that you just decide that, a freelance business isn't for you, and then you've tried it. If it doesn't work out for you, you've got that plan of being able to go back and start, go back to your old job or pick up a new job, those kind of things. So, plans don't always work out, but it's not going to be a disaster for you if you've done some thinking about that up front. So, action session. So write down at least 3 things that you could do to improve your situation if your freelance business plans don't work out quite as you'd like them to. So that's some of the other things we've talked about already. Things like finding a part-time job, things like cutting back on your costs, those kind of things. Put a bit of a plan in place so that you've got something written down that you can refer to if it is going to custard. And then, like I said, get really clear on what's the worst thing that could happen and what you would do if that did happen. So if you didn't get any freelance work, and you really, really needed to change something, what would you do? Go get a job, go back to your old job. What do you think you would do? And is there anything that you can do also to make that easier for you if that did come about? All right, so that is the last lesson for Module 4. So we're going to move now on to Module 5. And Module 5 is more about growing your business moving forward, but I think it'll be really helpful, particularly for those of you that are moving quite quickly with your freelance business. So I'll see you over in Module 5.